listening to The Real. With Rachel D. on WATB 1420. Hey everybody, and welcome to The Real with Rachel D. I'm your girl Rachel D, here with my super fabulous co-host. It's actually just Patrick. It's only Patrick.
And that you get no response.
And filling in for Miss BJ is Miss Brittany.
Hi guys.
I'm really only here to turn in my 2-minute notice.
2 minutes.
Miss Brittany Carter, she's an author we had on the show a couple weeks ago. Thank you for coming back.
Absolutely, no problem.
You know, when Miss BJ said she couldn't make it, I was like, I know exactly who to call. Because we had such good conversation last time.
Right. I'm glad you guys called. I'm excited to be here.
And I'm sorry, Patrick. I love you. Even though you didn't bring me any alcohol, but we will talk about that later.
Not accepted.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into some celebrity news. It has been a lot going on. It's kind of like flashback, I don't know, Friday, throwback Thursday, with a lot of these 90s, early 2000 rappers that's been just taking over the media for the past couple of months. Mm-hmm. So unless you've been living under a rock, you guys heard that Nelly had got arrested last weekend for allegedly raping a young lady on his tour bus. It said the rape happened last Saturday morning. It was around 7 a.m. And the alleged rape, the alleged rape happened at 3:45 a.m. Nelly's lawyer firmly denies the charges against his client. And he says that Nelly is actually a victim of the fabricated allegations against him. Now, the accuser, on the other hand, says that she's feeling bullied by the media. I'm not really sure how that is when nobody knows who you are, but that's what she says. So Nelly he's of course out of jail, canceled a couple of his tour dates immediately after. I think he's back on the road. But anyways, you guys, there's been a lot of people who have had opinions on this, including our favorite talk show, well, not Patrick's, but mine occasionally, favorite talk show host, Wendy Williams.
I'm like the antithesis of everything that's happening on this show right now. It's like,
I'm just trying to show you some love and letting everybody know he's here, because sometimes he gets very quiet. And they be like, is he there?
I'm thinking.
What are you thinking about?
Processing.
Well, right now I'm processing this story.
Okay. Well, Miss Brittany.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you think about these allegations?
I believe if they're true, then they should be dealt with accordingly. But like you were saying, we don't even know who she is. So is she bullying herself? I'm not sure how that works. Like, we don't know who you are, so how's the media bullying you? But at the same time, like you said, haven't we seen this story before?
Well, not on Nelly, but it seems like it's been like that with a lot of artists.
Uh-huh.
And I do have mixed feelings. Like, I'm that type of person, not to say anybody deserves it, but I do believe, and it's just a weird place you put yourself in. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm just curious to know what you was expecting is going to go down on a tour bus at 3:45 in the morning.
Right.
Maybe it was Bible study. I don't know.
Okay.
I was asleep. I was looking at the back of my eyelids
Bible
at that
study.
time. So I just wonder when it's like, you know, I've heard different versions of the story. I heard that it wasn't a forceful thing. I heard that he took off his condom, which is a form of rape, where it's like, hold on, we're having consensual sex, but nobody said it could be unprotected. You don't just slip it off, if that's ever happened to anybody. So I heard that was a version of it, but it's not being clear. But instead, it's just out there. Nelly's a rapist. And one thing I hate is when we brand people without giving people a fair trial.
Right, and I think that's what makes this story interesting if it did not happen. But like you said, this is 3:45 a.m. on a tour bus. People still have tour buses. I didn't know.
Apparently.
Okay. That part got me. I get hung up on the weirdest parts of the story, like tour bus. Interesting, but it, like you said, it just seems to me like just a lot of different weird occurrences at the same time. So it's something that needs to be investigated. So just to put out that he's a rapist is a bit much until we get some more details. And if it did happen with the consensual, and then he put off the condom, that gives it a different flavor or taste for the story, so it doesn't come off on the same thing. None.
No, but like you said, there are different forms of rape. But my question, going back to what Brittany said, is what is the result of the media bullying? Like, bullying her to what end? I don't understand that part. Like they're just like calling her up and hanging up the phone.
Right. And I didn't wait on her phone. Like, how is this working? Who knows who she is? Then that comes down to who's on the bus, and is it really rape if these people are playing on your phone? Because I don't.
I guess what I'm trying to get at is she trying to say that like they're bullying her to where she's trying to like set up a backpedal where she didn't really mean to say that he raped her, but the media kind of bullied her. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I think so. I mean, the most that you know about this girl, she's 21 and she's from Seattle, Washington, I think, and that's the most that they know. So it's kind of like, you know, nobody can be personally bullying you unless they're your lawyer, your friend, or somebody close in your circle. Mm-hmm. Now, I do believe in the backpedaling thing. I do believe that maybe, you know, they said that Nelly kicked her off the bus, gave her like $100 and pushed her off the bus. So it could be that she felt some kind of way.
Right.
We haven't heard anything else from her. All we know is that Nelly got arrested. The word rapist is all over his face, and literally have not gotten a statement from her besides a statement from her lawyer saying that she feels bullied. So I'm curious about this.
It's not enough. I don't feel like it's enough factors here to really call it what they're saying. I think right now we just know there's a female who feels some kind of way. She did get. I would feel some kind of way if I got kicked off the bus too. And $100, Nelly, really? Can I get about $5? I'm just saying.
I know.
But it just seems a little. I don't know. And if he knew if it was like rape allegations, I don't think that's how he would have sent her away. Yeah. You know, you don't want to send someone if you know that this could possibly blow up into something else. You're not going to send them, kick them out the bus and say, here, $100. You're going to try to, you know, put some type of compensation behind that to make sure that this stays where it is. I really think it probably blew up a little bit more than it.
Yeah. However, and here's the blame I go on Nelly. In a world full of Kevin Harts and Ushers, Lord. He has a girlfriend. His girlfriend's somebody Jackson. She used to date Floyd Mayweather. His fiance, actually. Remember?
Right. I was about to say.
So it was like, you know, in a world full of this in this moment, of all the stuff that your fellow R&B, you know, television people are going through, you have to be careful. She shouldn't have been on your bus.
I agree.
Period, point blank. She shouldn't have been on there by herself. When it's just you two, it's your word against hers. So it's like, that's when you have to really protect yourself. And Wendy Williams, and this is why I hated that she kind of backpedaled. She was actually mentioning about, you know, how the men need to protect themselves in pulling girls onto they tour buses at 3 o'clock in the morning. And the women need to protect themselves from going on a rapper's tour bus at 3:45 in the morning. But of course, people were upset. They were accusing her of victim blaming, which I feel like people like to throw that out there a lot. It's like, y'all remember when the word ignorant got really hot, where people just started saying it all the time? I think over the past like 5 years, you're ignorant. And it's like, is that just your comeback to every argument? Like, I feel like that word victim blaming is. It's like, it's not victim blaming. It's a cautionary tale. It's like, hey, you know, you're more likely to get in trouble if you run across the street when there's bullets flying than you are if you stay in your house. That's just facts. So she was just saying cautionary tales.
Right.
However, people went in on her, so she had to go back on her show, and she had these fake crocodile tears. It was just the most insane look to me. And she was dabbing the tears with like a cotton swab or something like that.
Seriously?
Yeah, because she said, you know, she was once upon a time the victim. Anyways, so moving on. Oh, before we start with the whole Nelly thing, T.I. actually commented, and he said that he wants women who falsely accuse men of rape to be held accountable. And I do agree with that.
I agree as well.
Because to me, that is what really makes women be afraid to come forth. Because if you have to deal with like if this woman straight up lies with this Nelly thing, if she come out and she admit that she straight up lied, anything after that, it would be hard to believe any woman. So,
well, I think women are held accountable, though, if they falsely accuse. I mean, if you falsely accuse anybody of a crime, you can be held accountable in civil and criminal cases. Now, with the backlash being the same as it would be for Nelly, I don't think that would ever happen because she's not a public figure. So she's never going to have the same, her face is never going to be, she's never going to have that public humiliation like Nelly would have because she's not a public figure.
Right.
But I think there is repercussions for that.
But it's not even remotely on the same level, and I think it needs to be. I think her face need to be slapped on with the word liar or something on there.
Not if she's not a public figure. Now, if she was like Sandra Bullock or something like that, then yeah, I could see that.
But don't you think her coming out to the media makes her a public figure? Because you can go straight to the police. You're a rapist. Like, they don't even have to say all this.
No, I don't.
I do. Because I just have personal experience. I just really, and it's ugly. It's just ugly to have to, you know,
I mean, I agree
lie.
with that, but I don't think that you being involved in some sort of criminal or legal case with somebody who is a public figure should automatically thrust you into the spotlight. Because I mean, suppose it was factual and he did do it, that I mean, the situation is still the same. She still shouldn't be thrust into the spotlight because she happened to be in a situation with somebody who volunteered to give up that freedom for themselves.
Well, let's move on because I can kind of let me follow up with this. Remember Usher's one of his accusers, Quantea Shopton, the big girl? Do you think that, you know, everybody knows she lied, but we're just going to keep playing with this. But when the truth come out that all that was made up, do you think that now that she's a little celebrity that she deserved to have hers all plastered all?
I don't think that she's that big of a celebrity, though.
She's not a big celebrity, but you know they pitched a reality show to her, and a doctor's offering to give her gastric bypass.
Well, see, that's different, though. If she takes those things and takes the bait and starts a reality show, then that is putting yourself in the situation to be a public figure. But if you just file a claim against somebody who is a public figure, then I feel like that's different.
But if you lie,
yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
And what was your point if it wasn't to try to get publicity,
right,
notoriety? I
think what you're saying works for if they didn't lie. But if they lie, now I'm on her side as far as you lied. So now you made yourself a public figure for something that didn't even happen. Now, if it happened, let's back off you because you need to deal with that. You need to process that. But if it didn't happen, no, you put somebody out there, you made up this story, and you could have possibly ruined the career of someone who didn't do what you say they did.
I think fame and money are two different things. Like, you can go after somebody for money and you can go after somebody from fame. The two don't have to be, together.
Do you think that she went off for both? Or?
I don't know. I haven't been following this story closely enough to know to come up with any kind of idea of what she would be doing this for. It does sound like she's trying to backpedal, but
right.
I think nowadays with the younger generation, they don't even know the difference between fame and money. It's like all these YouTube stars and Vine stars. It's like they're not rich. They're just popular.
That's a conversation too, I think, worth having.
All right, so Usher, many of his accusers keep popping up. That's a pun intended. Herpes. Anyways, but he kind of, he's never said that he had it. But this kind of confirms he does, because he says that he says that when people have sex with anybody, you are possibly exposing yourself. So you have to assume that risk. So to me, that's like you pretty much just say that you had it. First of all, if you didn't have it, you would have said you didn't have it a long time ago. And while that is true, I feel like if you have an STD that can be transmitted even with protection, you need to tell somebody.
Yeah, I think that's still against the law. If you know that you are infected with something that could possibly be transmitted to someone else, it's still against the law, even if it is like something that you can't protect against necessarily. Because
I agree. And also, and here goes the accountability with these certain women. The stories I've heard, the ones who are very detailed, they were like, green stuff was coming out of his penis. What? And I'm like, and you still
right
there?
And you were still there.
Like, did you think it was like money because it's Usher? It's like I would have been like, no.
Or did you just stay there because it was Usher? I'm confused as to where you're going with this. Yeah. Where you see these things and you're just like, oh, okay, well, I'm still gonna do it. So do you not assume the risk when you see something like that?
Exactly.
And you still continue? I think you do.
Yeah, and I think maybe that's what Usher was kind of coming out saying. It was like, if you have herpes and he's having a flare-up, which I'm assuming if green stuff comes out your penis, then you're probably bumping all over the place. They might have seen it, and they might have been like, yo, this is Usher. Right. I don't care. Like, I'm going to pull out and pray or whatever.
I don't know too much about this STD, but green stuff doesn't sound like anything that's healthy. That's not.
I don't even
this.
think that's a symptom of.
That's something.
That's what they were saying.
That's something else.
That
you
needs
need
to be
you
swabbed
need to do
and
your
cultured.
right WebMD or something. I just
like,
don't understand. That doesn't sound like herpes. I'm sorry. I did my little research when I had to do projects on it, and green stuff was just never one of the symptoms. So I don't.
And if I was one of them girls, I would have left that out of the story. I'm like, I don't need nobody
that's
to know that
right,
happened.
because nobody can really confirm that unless they were in that situation. So that's just something that you don't tell. That's not even I want to tell my homegirl, hey, green stuff was coming out of his piece. We're not having that conversation.
That never happened.
That's something you see and you keep it moving.
All right, so keeping it moving. This is some Atlanta news. So Nene Leakes has been in the media all week. As much as I try to root for her, she just be letting me down so badly. So, in a couple weeks, the Real Housewives of Atlanta is returning to Bravo, and old school members, Nene Leakes and Kim Zolciak, are returning. I think Nene's coming back in a full-time capacity, and Kim is part-time. Mm-hmm. Well, Kim and Nene, who have this love and hate relationship, they just kind of got back on track, and now it has exploded. Because allegedly, Kim Zolciak's daughter, Brielle, was Snapchatting while she was in Nene's house, and there was a roach on the floor, like right below her foot.
Are you serious?
And so the people on her Snapchat were like, there's roaches in your house. And she's like, no, I'm at Nene's house. And then she goes and she starts to video more roaches that were around.
Are you serious?
And to me, they didn't look like roaches. They look like those, those big wasps? Mm-hmm. Like, that's what they look like to me. But
what?
You ever seen those big old wasps?
It shouldn't be that many, though.
Oh, they were like 4 or 5 on
No, that's too many wasps in one area.
Yeah. So wait a minute. Instead of going to get some Raid or a shoe or something like that, you decide this is the perfect time to Snapchat.
Yeah, exactly.
Nah, I'm running. I'm scared of roaches.
And so we have the same feelings about this, but Nene was really upset, and she went in a little too hard. She she said that Brielle's part of her snapback. I don't have the whole thing, but she was like, her vagina stinks.
Oh,
that's the thing. Nene's one of those people where it's like, where did that even come from?
Time out, full time out, flag on the play.
And so, she talked bad about her. She had a whole bunch of hashtags calling her. She's like, Kim and her child did something very wrong and disgusting. Black people and roaches in the same sentence don't work for me, boo. And then she called Brielle hashtag racist trash and hashtag KKK. And it's like Kim and her daughter, oops, whole family are racist. And so, of course, Kim Zolciak, like any mother, regardless of how wrong your child is, comes to their defense. She never really said anything about whether she felt her daughter was wrong, but she definitely felt Nene was wrong, and she said that she's going to sue Nene for defamation of character because she called her racist.
It's not defamation, that's an opinion.
It is.
So I need people to actually look up legal definitions before they start wasting money and filing suit because.
But did Nene ever address the bug situation at all?
Yeah, was it her house?
Right.
Did anybody kill the 4?
Right. Did we ever deal with the bug situation? That's what I'm curious about.
Nope, not at all.
No Orchid Man and the...
Right. Nope. Because, the reality of it is bugs can get, especially in the South, bugs can get in your house, no matter how clean your house is. Like, when I was in Savannah, water bugs was just a part of the family, and it was unfortunate because I'm scared of them. But, it's like something that's, you don't have to really get that upset because everybody can understand. But if you just kind of act like it's not happening, now we're going to be wondering, do you really have them? Because
I think Nene was more upset she felt exposed. And I think that, and Brielle's 19, so she's thinking like a 19-year-old.
Right.
But Nene is a grown woman, and she should have handled it a little bit better.
Nene could have flipped that, and, it made that into something funny going there. You see her killing them or whatever, and it would have brought that story back to reality. Like, oh, yeah, we've all had to kill a couple of roaches because that's what we do.
And I think the roaches were in the basement. Now, if it was in the kitchen.
Right. Now we got a whole different story here.
But the basement is
It's the basement. How often are you down there? So, yeah, I think Nene just kind of She's being Nene.
I think Nene's just kind of feeling herself because she's calling herself a comedian now, so she thinks that she has like comedic license to like say outlandish stuff, but it's not. Like,
it doesn't
really funny.
translate the same with her.
Well, Patrick, good segue because that's the next thing we're talking about.
You're welcome. Thank you, $20.
Nene Lee, let me tell you, she be shooting herself in the foot like nobody's business. She could never be a true comedian because she's too emotional.
Right.
It's like her snapbacks, just like talking about Brielle's vagina. They're meant to hurt, and it's like it comes out of nowhere. So, you know, Nene, who was supposed to be the opening act for the Great Escape tour, has now been yanked off the tour because she's on video. She was at a comedy club getting heckled, and she told the person who was heckling her that she said, there's cuss words in here, so I ain't even gonna tell you about the God D Uber driver. I hope he rape yo A tonight when he take you home, B. And steal yo funky Hello Kitty, B. All right. So essentially, she told somebody who was bothering her that she hopes that the Uber driver rapes her. And it's like, you want to be a comedian, that comes with the territory. Hecklers, people are going to talk about you. And then that's what you do? Right. That's what you say?
Where are you going with that?
You don't call her ugly. Don't talk about her shoes.
Right.
Like, no.
You want her to get raped. Wow.
Yeah, so she already lost one job, which was the Great Escape tour. You know, she works on Fashion Police, so they're waiting to hear from that. And we'll see what Bravo says about her returning.
Wow.
Isn't that insane?
Wow.
She's just on a roll. All of this within like 5 days. Just destructive.
That's your money. So you have to be very careful when you're speaking. And, you know, and just at the age that Nene is, she should have learned a better way to express herself when she gets upset.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's not it.
Do you watch the show?
I don't.
Oh, well, that's how she is all the time.
I can't. Because of how she is all the time, I can't.
Yeah.
I just think like this is like symptomatic of like reality stars filling themselves and trying to get a little gig on the side to try to validate their fame. Like, you're not an actual comedian. Like, you don't actually understand the art of comedy, but you just think like you get a couple of key-hees and every now and then
right.
And you try to go on the road with that, and it's
the difference in being situationally funny and a comedian. Those are two totally different things. And I think
it's the difference between being mean and satirical.
Right.
Yeah. So all of that, and I saw a video this morning of Nene crying about it. She did issue an apology. She says, I truly regret and apologize for what I said on stage in Oakland over the weekend. Sometimes words can cut deep and hurt when you have no intentions of them doing so. As a woman and someone who has survived abuse, I regret words that I used. I made a mistake and I should have known better. I hope people accept my deepest and sincerest apologies. I'm sorry. Now, how do you, sometimes words can cut deep and hurt when you have no intention? You told somebody you hope they Uber driver raped them.
That sounds very intentional to me.
That's
why I'm like, when do we say that something is no longer a mistake but a decision? Like,
yeah,
that doesn't sound like a mistake to me. A mistake means you missed and cursed them. You know, you said words in that curse, but you had a whole scenario. You wanted the Uber driver.
That's not like a phrase that people say to each other.
Nobody says that. That's not something that slipped out. That was intentional. That was thought about it. Probably a little bit premeditated. Just the next time somebody says something to me, I'm going this route. No, Nene.
Exactly. So, you know, I am disappointed because I did want to see her do stand-up just because I wanted to see if she was funny. Like, when you snapping on people, like you said, situationally, like, if you're going back and forth, it's funny. But when you standing there by yourself, like, I was just curious. But, you know.
It sounded like a train wreck to me, but, you know.
Escape is already trying to get their stuff together, so they don't need the extra added on of Nene's mess. So.
Right, yeah.
All right, so moving on. Did you guys know that Little Richard came out and said he's not gay anymore?
I have so many feelings about Little Richard.
Well, first of all, I didn't know he was still alive, and I'm not even trying to be funny. Like, he just kind of, you know how like the age of the Temptations and them, like they all kind of passed on. I never heard anything from Little Richard.
He is yet alive.
I didn't know that. But clearly, he's been cleansing his soul or something.
Okay.
Because let me see. What did it say? It says, during a sit down with Little Richard, the 84-year-old singer who, you know, wears his signature wig and makeup and all that, he said that he's been dedicating his last years on earth to living, quote unquote, like Jesus. Anyone come in show business, they're going to say you're gay. Or are you straight? Or are you homosexual something? They're going to say it, but God, Jesus, he made men, he made women, women, you know? And you got to live the way God wants you to live. You know, all these things. So much unnatural affection. So much of people just doing everything and don't think about God. Don't want no parts of him. Okay, anyway. What do you think, Pat? I'm curious.
Well, regarding the whole, you know,
sorry, this last line, it says, I don't want to sing rock and roll no more. I want to be holy like Jesus.
Okay.
I mean, I kind of feel like the whole situation itself is a setup. But before I get into the conspiracy theory, I just have a major problem with the fact that they rolled that man out there. He didn't have his hair on. He didn't have his makeup on, his face on. Like,
that didn't look like Little Richard. That's why he might be dead. That could have been like, you know, a false person.
They didn't have to do him like that. Get that man his hair.
Right.
Put it on. Like,
wow.
you ain't never seen, you didn't even know Little Richard. You ain't never seen Little Richard with a gray.
Right. Little Richard used to be on point, so yeah.
But no, I started to watch the interview. I didn't complete it. But I don't know, something about it just seems very contrived and like forced to me. It seems like somebody, like he's older now. I don't know where his mind is, but it seems like somebody's kind of coercing him into saying the things that he's saying and kind of trying to, I don't know, make some sort of point with him. I don't know. It just seems weird. I mean, even like the people that were interviewing him, like they were very, I don't know, dead in the eyes. Like they were just like those kind of
like people.
Yeah, it was weird.
I think when people like Little Richard or Antoine Dotson or the Delivered guy, when you go from one extreme to the other one, like that's when I don't ever take it very serious. It's like I doubt you do all that, you live that life, and then all of a sudden I'm living like Jesus and I'm gonna like, to me it's just weird. Because it's like, especially when you have to announce stuff like that. It's like if you could come out, Little Richard, and do like a Motown reunion if you want to be relevant, if you want to come back out. But it's like, that's how we find out about you. Like, that's how we hear about you again, that you have this big announcement. Nobody buys it.
Right. It didn't seem like he necessarily wanted to, like he was going on a 60 city tour to talk about how he was changed and reformed. Like it was like they just rolled him out and they said, hey, say this, read the prompter.
Right.
You know, it was weird. I didn't like it. And he didn't have his hair on.
He didn't have his hair.
Did he have any makeup on? I didn't see it.
He didn't have anything on.
Oh.
See, he might be going through dementia or something like that. Like, we don't know. We haven't caught up with him in a long time. And like you said, the Little Richard we know would not roll out looking like that. He would probably have like a bedazzled something on.
Nothing was bedazzled.
What?
He had an old country suit on,
Are
old
you
pinstripe country suit.
serious?
Yeah, that ain't him.
Wow.
All right, guys. So moving on. So of course, you know, the Kardashians made a pregnancy pact. I'm convinced because I actually saw an article today that said Kourtney might be pregnant.
Again?
Yeah, by some other dude.
Oh.
But LeBron James, you know that. Okay, so Khloe Kardashian is pregnant by Tristan Thompson, who plays for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and of course, that's when the reality show cameras are going to follow him. And LeBron James, somebody who has a respectable career that don't need to do all the extra, is not really happy about it. So he actually, there's a Snapchat video of him showing the Keeping Up with the Kardashian video crew, and he was like, here is the shish show. And so they said that he has a lot of problems with that. Since they started dating, he didn't want that to interfere, and I get it for many reasons. Not that I think that he's probably the most professional, but you know, men, locker room talk and all that, you know,
Right.
You just don't want all those cameras in there. And then the Kardashians are 100% into their editing,
Right.
and 100% in making the men look like the bad guy if they break up. So yeah, that's about all of that story.
I understand it too. I mean, it does kind of take down your value a little bit, you know, when you're like an unintentional reality star. Like,
Yeah.
Especially for the Kardashian show, and they have so many different things and elements that play into why that show is not everyone's favorite. So it's, you know, when you're trying to just do your job and do what you're there to do, and then you see this pull up, it's like, here we go. This is that.
All right, so the last story, what's her name? Janae Aiko, Big Sean's girlfriend, gets a tattoo of his entire face and like upper body on her arm.
Yeah. I saw that.
And it was in color.
Yeah, I didn't know how to.
Did you see the
I
tattoo?
didn't understand.
I saw them doing the tattoo. I didn't care enough to sit around and see the final product.
Well, allow me
Wow.
to.
It's great artistry though, you know. But it's like, are you serious right now?
Let me tell you something. I ain't never had none that good.
They say she did it she topped the For the D challenge because she just.
I ain't never.
She
had
did it all.
nothing
She went
that
all in.
good.
It's just not. The whole face.
Now they have to break up. It just, I mean, that just tends to happen when you get people tattooed or their names
A whole
tattooed
face,
on you.
though. That's a name you can cover up. A face, that's a lot. That's serious.
Yeah. And I bet you it's taking too long. I'm trying to pull it up. I bet you he doesn't have any tattoos of her on him.
I'm sure he did. Because you don't see the matching where they show we got each other's face. Because I don't think he would. That just seems
dumb.
That's
pretty much.
I was trying to be nice, but
That's very dumb.
Crazy. I can't.
What's the craziest thing y'all have done for love? Or witness? Because I don't think that's love.
That's. What do I probably like paid for like a ticket somewhere that was really, really expensive. That's it. That's all you get from me.
Yeah, I think I took him on like a nice, expensive trip.
No tattoos.
I'm trying to think of something really outrageous, but I can't think of anything.
Because maybe we're just sensible.
Yeah. Like, I mean.
We're sensible.
I don't even have any tattoos. I don't like nobody that much.
Tattoos
Not even
out of anybody else. It's all what I wanted. So, I can't. I just going through that type of pain for the tattoo, and then to have to look at somebody's face if something doesn't go right, which usually it doesn't, and you have that person's face on you, like that's a whole nother way of saying, hey, let me show you or tell you who my ex is.
Exactly.
Bam. What?
My thing is though, like she should have saved herself some face, pun intended, and just got like his like an album or something on her body. That way, like if they broke up, she could say, no,
That's
like this album changed my life.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
That's redeemable, but
Yeah.
a face, ain't no coming back from that.
There isn't. And even if she does get it covered up, we all know now.
We know
that you're the idiot. Like her divorce was just finalized 3 days prior.
Wow.
So which means that you have a track history
right.
of stuff not working out.
That just shows her, what's going on with her, that you would go from one extreme of divorce to now somebody's face on your arm. Like, really? When I saw it, I just, how you just keep scrolling because you're just like, I can't. I don't even want to read the story behind this because I can't.
You start to figure out what age they are and see if they're in your generation
right.
bracket.
Like, well, we don't. She's not, is it?
Yes, she is, unfortunately.
Okay. Well.
All right, guys, you're listening to The Real with Rachel D. Make sure you guys keep it here. We have a mix coming up from our favorite DJ Specs. Keep it here.
You're in the mix with DJ Specs.
All right, guys, welcome back to The Real with Rachel D. That was a couple great mixes by our favorite DJ Specs. I'm here with P Money.
Oh, present.
And filling in for Miss BJ is Miss Brittany Carter.
Hello, hello, hello.
All right, guys, so normally at this time we would have DJ Specs joining us, but we're going to go ahead and normally this is called Trump Talks, but we're not going to do Trump Talk. We're actually going to do sports and politics, because as much as people say they don't mix, they've been mixing a lot lately. So let's just go ahead and talk about them. Why not? All right, so let's go into the suspension of Jemele Hill because of her social media comments. Did you guys hear about that?
I did.
Patrick?
Did I? No, I did not. Will you inform me of it?
All right. Jemele Hill is one half of the duo that hosts the show SportsCenter on ESPN. And a couple weeks ago, or months ago, she went on Twitter and she called Donald Trump a white supremacist and a couple other things. And they, Donald Trump, of course, and the director of communications said that was the worst thing. Like, the director of the communications was like, that was the worst thing I've ever seen. She's working for Donald Trump, and that's what she says. Anyway, so they wanted Jemele Hill to be suspended. They low-key tried to. They tried to replace her. And then Michael, her co-host, said, I'm not doing the show without her. Mm-hmm. And then they wanted to replace them with 2 black reporters. And they said, we're not taking over. So really, they kind of forced the hand to keep her there. They warned her. Well, she decided to go on Twitter and to talk about Dallas Cowboys owner, what's his name?
Jerry Jones.
Jerry Jones, good one. And so... you know, she talked about people reacting from disrespecting the flag and everything, and she pretty much said that people should boycott, what's the word I'm looking for? Sponsors. She kind of said, I'm not telling y'all to, but it's a good way to make change by hitting people in the pockets. Mm-hmm. So because of this, ESPN suspended her for 2 weeks.
Wow.
And her partner, but Michael, isn't doing the show without her. And, like, I have so much respect for that.
Right.
Because that is his check, too. But it's like, you have to stand your ground because, number one, I don't know what their social media guidelines are. However, that is freedom of speech. Mm-hmm. And that is freedom of her opinion. And it's like, you hired this person to be a sports analyst. And unfortunately, I mean, this is sports related. Even if it is politics. Jerry Jones is the owner of the Dallas Cowboys. And what he did, what I didn't realize... So I don't know if you guys saw where the Dallas Cowboys, the whole team kneeled during the national anthem. Mm-hmm. Well, no, they didn't. They kneeled beforehand.
Oh, okay. And so that's what they captured. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it made it seem like, oh my gosh, they're progressive and they're being supportive. No, Jerry was like, you're going to catch us kneeling before. And what you're going to do, you're going to air it playing during the national anthem like we're kneeling during the national anthem.
Wow.
And it was exposed. And so, of course, she came out and she said boycott. And, you know, people were upset. And like I said, she's been suspended for 2 weeks. I think her 2 weeks is up next week. And so, you know, people have been tweeting their support. And I definitely tweeted. I'm such a troll. I like the social media troll. I'm terrible. I've been tweeting all on that. And, you know, she's a black woman. And I believe that it's important for her to stand her ground. She has to have her opinion. I feel like this whole NFL boycott thing is trying to censor people and quiet people when you don't agree with their opinions. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, that's pretty much what's going on with that.
And so she got suspended for her... what she says, but aren't people saying stuff on all the stations about different things that are going on? And I guess because she said it about the the owner, that's what made the difference because they said it's not news.
Well, I think it is they're punishing her for what she said about Donald Trump. It's just a retro punishment.
Right. That's what I was thinking. So call it what it is. Yeah.
My opinion is kind of where yours is and kind of not, because I feel like, first of all, is her account certified? Like, does she have a check? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I feel like as a public figure and that is a representation of a media outlet, I do feel like if you are going to associate yourself and your image with a media outlet, that you do have to understand that there could be repercussions from said outlet when you voice your opinion politically or whatever your opinion is, or about a restaurant down the street, whatever it is, Yelp reviews. But with that being said, I think it's the media outlet that has to have the integrity to say that we're going to stand behind our anchors and not pursue any further actions against them, or we value their opinions. Right. So I think that it's less her responsibility and more ESPN's responsibility, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I think so. Because she's not the only one that speaks out.
Right.
She's the only one that speaks out against this. But it's like, you know, I've seen other ESPN people tweet derogatory things, calling black people thugs. They'll do all that. And it's like there's nothing that happens to them. And then when you bring it up, if she goes to them side by side, ESPN, look what they're doing. They're like, well, they're two separate issues. And we treat them differently. So it's kind of like that's a way of shutting you up. your job is at risk. And I'm glad she took that risk, because to me that helped to get bigger notoriety, because people who don't even listen or watch SportsCenter now knows who this woman is.
Right.
So I think it's going to work out for her.
So what do they do to fill? How long is her show? An hour?
Like 2 hours.
What do they do to fill that 2 hours? They just like pan around an empty studio?
No, they found some in Chris's words, coons to fill to fill the time. Jesus, I'm like, come on, black people, y'all just say no.
Stick together. If everybody says no, then they have to. Then if they put 2 white people on there, everybody knows what's up. Like,
exactly.
But you always gonna have to. You always gonna have to.
But here's an interesting story, speaking about media and integrity, because, you know, as a media personnel, you are supposed to report the truth. Don't be a Donald Trump fake news person. So I don't know if you heard, Colin Kaepernick did an interview with the Associated Press, and he said that, you know, he did want to work back in the NFL. And I remember seeing this news story before the truth came out. The reporter said he spoke to Colin, and Colin said, if you guys would give me a job in the NFL, I would gladly stand for the national anthem. And so, of course, everybody started to go in on him like, wait a minute, like, we're doing this because you led this. And Colin came back and said, I never said that. And then that's when the reporter was like, well, yeah, he didn't say that. And it's like, you're the Associated Press. Like, that's what people really uses as, like, truthful source.
Right.
So you just made that up. And it's too late. Like, he dropped the ball, and if, you know, people don't hear the retraction, they'll think that Colin was willing to sell out like that. Wow. And there's no punishment. I didn't hear anything about
why
him.
didn't he get suspended? Or the reporter get suspended?
Right. That's something to punish.
Right.
Yep. I guess it's one of those isolated incidents, or,
okay.
you know, we deal with things a little different. Twitter's more important, not the Associated Press.
Right. The whole Associated Press. Wow.
All right. So moving on, and I have mixed feelings about this too. Y'all remember Cam Newton? He's always on some mess, particularly with his clothes. But we're going to talk about what he said. So Cam Newton has been apologizing up and down about a comment that he made to a female reporter. And it was, she was talking about Root. She was interviewing him, and he said that he found it funny that as a woman that she knows about these things. Wow. Now, people took it that way. They took it like he was, you know, degrading her. I just, based off of his demeanor and how he said it, I didn't really take it like that. I took it like he was like, wow, I didn't know women knew about that. And in a male-dominating sport, I'd understand why you'd be like, you know, like, he could have followed it up by saying, oh, that was impressive, but he just kind of laughed it off. And so that's when people thought that he was being sexist. And because of that, you know, he had to apologize, but he also lost sponsorship with Oki's Greek yogurt. Have y'all heard of that? The one
I've heard of it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he lost his sponsorship, and he had to go and apologize. But the interesting thing, and this is when I was doing some trolling today, I had to. The reporter whom he said this to, this white girl named Jordan Rodriguez or whatever, well, she, of course, played the victim. Mm-hmm. And she said, you know, I'm just here to do my job and not to be discriminated against and blah, blah, blah. Well, you know how black Twitter is. Mm-hmm. They went and dug up some tweets from 2014 where she was dropping the N-bomb.
Oh, wow.
When she was saying, oh, my dad makes the funniest racist jokes.
Oh, wow.
And so, you know, I'm over here today, and I did it today. I went to, she worked at the, what's her job? The Carolina, some magazine, some newspaper in Carolina. I went to their Twitter and their Instagram, and I said, oh, you are employing racists? I think you need to fire her. And I went to her Twitter and all that stuff and added her. And it's like, I bet you they're not. They're low-keying her. She ain't been on social media since. She has sent an apology. And, of course, you could tell when they downplayed it because they were like some tweets that was from 4 years ago when I was immature and stuff. And it's like, no.
No, but you were trying to play the victim not too long ago.
Yeah, it's about throwing stones when you living in glass houses. You need to just be quiet. Like, if you didn't, I feel like if she didn't play further into it, people would have just known your name as a reporter and you would have got probably more popular. But when you're like, I work hard and you're sexist and you're blah, 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 you just make it worse for yourself.
Wow.
And then also in her tweets, you used the word racist.
Right.
You said it was your dad's funny, it's a funny racist
joke.
You did that. But we can all guarantee, because she's a pretty blonde white girl, nothing's going to happen. They're going to tell her to just lay low and it's going to...
Just be quiet. Don't get on Twitter for a little while.
Yeah. While Cam loses millions and people look at him as crazy. And that's why it's like, no, there is injustice, people. Like, how can you not see it?
Double standards.
All right. So, final story. Side chicks have been on something for the past couple of years. I'm just gonna put that out there because they have no discernment. Not that I know anything about that, but the Miami Dolphins, one of the line coaches, offensive line coach Chris Forrester, I think his name is. Well, he had a side chick, an African American too. I'm telling y'all, white men love black women. Don't let them tell you anything different.
They really do.
Anyway, she uploaded some footage of him snorting lines of cocaine. Now, just so y'all know, snorting lines of cocaine with your side chick is okay. Kneeling for the flag is not.
Wow.
Get your priorities straight,
Right,
people.
right.
Anyway, so he resigned because he needs to go get some help, and I appreciate him acknowledging that. But this right here isn't going to be blown up big at all because they're going to say he went to go get some help, guys.
Right, he went
Allow
to seek
him
help,
to.
and
My
we need
thing
to.
is a rich white man snorting cocaine like a new situation, a circumstance? Like,
Absolutely
where do
not.
you think that would come with the territory?
Right,
Like, it'd be like,
absolutely
oh,
not.
that
It's
looks
kinda
like
normal.
a Thursday night. Like,
Absolutely not. Nothing odd about that. So yeah, that's probably why nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah. All right, guys, you're listening to The Real with Rachel D. Make sure you keep it here. We have more show coming up for you. But quick reminder to go on social media and show us some support on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. Coming up, another mix by DJ Specs. Keep it here. All right, guys, welcome back to The Real with Rachel D. Another great mix by DJ Specs. We're in studio with P Money
hey,
and Brittany Carter.
Hey.
And I think we have on the phone Miss BJ.
Hello.
Hi, BJ.
Hi.
So are you joining us for the rest of the show?
I am going to try. I am in the search for some Kleenex because, girl, Tyree's been crying so much. I'm afraid of a flood, so I've been trying to get some Kleenex for him.
Oh, Jesus. I told you I was saving that story for when you come back.
Oh, yeah, but it's, it's the gift that keep on giving. Every week he crying about something. He need he needs to sponsor Lifetime. That's what he needs to do.
I'm so sick of Tyrese. He done already said he don't like us. So that's probably why he ain't got no money. We stopped buying his albums. All right, girls. So right now we are in the WTH social media, which is the craziest stories we found on social media.
Oh, excellent. What we got this week?
All right. So, where do I want to start? Hey, put your phone on mute when you're not speaking. I can get the feedback.
Oh, got you.
All right, so let's just go ahead. We'll skip around. We're going to start with the Dove racist ad. I put racist in quotation marks because it wasn't initially like that. So we'll start from the beginning. What everybody saw on social media was a couple pictures of a black woman who was lifting up a brown shirt to reveal that she's a white woman. And it's supposed to be Dove washes you clean. Now, based off of the pictures and where the Dove bottle was placed, I really thought it was Photoshop. I really didn't take it serious. And then when Dove issued an apology, I went on their Twitter and I'm like, oh my God, like this is real. Like, how did this make sense? Like, who in the entire creative team did not catch this and said this is a bad idea? So, of course, it blew up. People went to boycott it. Brittany and I already said we ain't.
I'm not.
Sorry. Dove works
sorry,
for me.
guys.
It ain't
I'm
happening.
not doing it.
But they released the full video, and the full video is a black woman taking off a shirt, and then she's a white woman, and a white woman taking off a shirt, and she's a Hispanic woman. So it's supposed to show that Dove is good for every skin.
see, I never even got that initially. Maybe because I didn't see the slogan, so I didn't see "washes you clean." But I just saw the images of like somebody taking off one woman taking off her shirt, and then the white woman next to her, and I just thought, oh, they're in nude colored shirts. I don't really understand what's happening in this ad. I couldn't understand why like people were upset about it, and then it made me even more confused when I actually saw the ad, because I mean it was exactly what I expected it to be, which was just people in like nude color shirts taking their shirts off and revealing the other one. So I don't know, I didn't get it.
I just think, like I said off air, that it was maybe it would have been easy to avoid if the order of women taking off their shirts were different.
Yeah.
So the fact that it was like a black woman trying to be a white woman, like we're already going through enough race wise, and that's what it looked like.
And I was listening to B. Scott's podcast, and he made a good point where he said, even if it weren't an issue or that wasn't what they intended, it points out a bigger problem, which is there is no diversity in their advertising team, because somebody within their advertising team should have been able to say, you know what, that could be misconstrued
Right,
as
nobody
this.
caught it.
So,
That's what I was concerned about.
Right.
Like, nobody caught. It wasn't so much that I was offended. I've already said I wasn't. I watched it, and my dad even put a post. He was like, if you had to watch it twice to be offended, then you're full of it. Like, I agree. If you have to keep watching it to be offended, yeah, stop. But I think it was more so that no one caught that it could potentially be an issue because, I mean, that's your job, is to try to figure out what people are going to think when they see this.
Right.
So the fact that no one thought enough to say, hey, you might not want to put the black woman in front of it. I mean, especially where we are, that was the only thing that I could say was, and you could have found a different way to support diversity. I just don't, I just feel like it wasn't, they didn't think much about what they were doing. They kind of just put it out there. And so that's, if anything, it was more so they didn't put a lot of thought into it.
Yeah. I agree, but you know what? I'm loving the memes coming off of it, though. How they used the original Aunt Viv, and then she pulled her shirt off and she was the new Aunt Viv. Yeah,
I did see that one. That was good.
You know, I love Lil' Kim, but they had the original, the Lil' Kim from the 90s, and then they had the face of new Lil' Kim.
This is what Dove will do for you. Like I said, you know, I just can't get on this boycott train because it is Dove. And my dermatologist already told me this is not an option. So I support everybody who feels like they're doing what they need to do, but I wasn't offended. I wasn't.
Let me ask you, I'll ask Patrick because he's done more of the production work than I have, but wouldn't they have some type of storyboards when they lay this out, or do they just film some stuff and be like, okay, this is how it's supposed to look?
For somebody who's doing an ad for Dove, which is like an international huge advertising campaign, yeah, they should definitely have some storyboards. They should have somebody checking, rechecking.
Remember, a storyboard normally has 1, 2, 3, 4,
Right.
like the meme. So you sat there and saw black woman pull off her shirt, white woman.
Right.
And
So-
nobody.
It goes back to the advertising, not having diversity in your advertising.
Right. Do
too.
y'all have
Yeah.
black people there who will just be like, listen, I know where y'all going with this, but let me tell you what my people gonna do.
They don't have the real black people.
Right. They need some, and I think I should just go lobby and see if I can get hired because I could help you avoid this stuff. Call me.
That's what always surprise or like is amazing about things that happen like this. Like you have to go through so many people, in order to get
especially
on
for
air.
Dove.
Yeah.
This is not some little cheap soap place. This is
Right.
Dove. Y'all have a lot of hands this goes through, and nobody said, "Hey guys, I don't know about this one."
Yeah. All right, so moving on. Miss BJ, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, so Miss BJ sent me this one. I thought it was very interesting. I wish I would have read the whole thing. Do you remember the article you sent me about the cheater, the husband who revealed his wife was cheating on him at their wedding?
Yes. So this happened in Singapore. So apparently the groom had got word that his soon-to-be wife was cheating on him. So, you know, most people would say, okay, I'm calling the wedding off. This is it. He hired a private investigator, got the video footage, pulled a full-blown cheaters, waited for the wedding to go through, said the vows, waited to the reception, and then played the video that the private investigator gave him in front of both of their families.
Dang.
So wait, he waited till after they were officially married to do this?
Oh, yeah, they were married.
What in the world?
I guess he ain't gonna sign the marriage certificate. Or...
Yeah, I mean, you have to sign something to make it
Right.
official.
So
But-
I'm assuming sometimes, you know, you do have to sign it before the actual day of the wedding. So
Yeah,
maybe he was already so invested, but at the same time, you can get the marriage annulled.
Yeah.
Or maybe they weren't gonna sign it until after it, and her parents paid for it.
That's some shady mess. It's like, you know what? Not only am I going to dump you, but I'm going to let your parents be mad at you because we just wasted all this money.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
That's
I mean, what's the guy's name? Joey Greco? I was just completely expecting, and here she is, walking to the hotel room.
Coming in, antagonizing people. Why would you do
Right.
that?
Why did you do this to him on the night of your wedding? You know, it was just, I mean, that was a little shady, you know,
Yeah,
to take
that
it
was a
that
bit
far.
much. Yeah, to let it get that far and be married and do all that. Come on,
I
man.
don't know, guys, because once you finish planning a wedding and paying for it, it's like I know a couple that I'm actually going to her wedding next month too. She's marrying somebody else, but she got engaged last year, actually, I think it is. No, she was getting married last year, and they broke up 2 days before the wedding. And to me, as a person who just had a wedding, there is by 2 days, everything's paid for, everything's done. And so it's like, yo, I mean, I probably wouldn't have went through with the ceremony. I probably would have busted wide open, like right at that moment, kicked her out, and then had a party while we enjoyed the food and the alcohol. But I still would have probably had the wedding, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah. First of all, there's so many problems with this. You had to hire a private investigator. So you already on the wrong track with this whole
Y'all
marriage.
not married yet.
And I'm pretty sure, he told, I don't know. And then why put it in, so why broadcast it to everybody to embarrass her? But if you do that, you have to be prepared to leave. Because if you stay, we all know your business now, and we looking at you crazy.
All know it. Wow.
As a member of his family, I would have been upset about it. Like, you called me out here for this?
Yeah, that's a crazy way to, like, have people out there and then you're playing this. You knew, because you don't plan to play something and you don't know what's going on. So, like, I would be upset, too. Either way, I'm on it. I'm like, really, y'all couldn't have dealt with this prior to me having to get here? Yeah. Seriously? I'm going home. Would you have taken your gift back as you left? Heck yeah. Y'all, you know what? I'm going to give y'all some counseling.
You get one wedding from me.
Right. I'm going to gift y'all some counseling because I don't have time. This is too much. Yeah. No.
It would have been funny, though, if he, like, told all of his relatives not to come, and it was just on his side was just his mama just sitting there.
Right.
Like, or at least told them and let them sit and have that, that moment where the whole family is sitting over there me mugging like we already knew. Like,
right. He had to have some messy older sister was like, okay, check this out, Todd. We gonna get her. So, I mean, he probably had like a soundtrack playing too. But if I had been there, I would have brought some Tupperware while they watching the video. Let's get these scrimps, get these cocktail sauce, flick the little bride off the top of the wedding cake, go on and cut into it.
Bride off the cake.
BJ, it's so I can envision all that. That's why it's so
right.
I would do the same thing. I mean, and it depends on who it is. If it's my brother, we might just have to throw down just cause. I don't know. But that's funny. But no, I'm also that's a new level of petty, and I thoroughly enjoy it. I'm here for it. Because first of all, if you have a private investigator, which means your cheating game's so sloppy.
Right.
It has to be so sloppy.
Right.
And then I don't understand. I guess people are good at their jobs. You ever feel like somebody's watching you naturally or following you somewhere? Like if it's the same car that's been following you, you kind of like turn right just to see if they follow you. Mm-hmm. Like to have somebody who can catch your intimate moments is supposed to be inside with the door closed and the window shades closed. You deserve all that.
You deserve it.
All right, so moving on. This isn't really that big of a story. Like, when I first saw the pictures, BJ, I thought that this was going to be awesome because I thought, okay, so a gang of 15 Ronald McDonald clowns, they pretty much went to a Burger King to hang out. Now, if they robbed the Burger King, then this one would be a better story. But they just went out. They went there and they said, you're SHIT, and you know you are. And that's about it. But here's the sad thing, though. All these men were between the ages of 45 and 55.
Yeah, that's the saddest part of it. What are y'all supposed to be doing? Because this is not it. And why are y'all so gung-ho about McDonald's? Like, at 45 to 55, you should be so over McDonald's.
You know they've been planning this for years. So, they had just been waiting for it. It was probably 2 of them initially, and they were just waiting for 13 other people to get.
They got it. Some other people, we're going to finally do this, guys. After 5 years of planning, we got this. What?
It's crazy. I would have expected them to, if they broke out into a song and dance like Beyonce 7-Eleven or something, that would have been better. But they just up there, trolling Burger King. Really?
I mean, well, they're from London. Maybe they were very sophisticated. Maybe that's their protest.
Mm-hmm. Your food is horrible. Horrible, I say. Horrible. It would have made, maybe if they were from Chicago, because, it really depends. If someone downgrades you or speaks funky to you, you can't get really upset if someone with a British accent talks down on you. You're like, oh, man, say it again.
That is true. It'd be sexy.
Yeah.
They do. I'm obsessed with all that Spice Girls and all that good stuff.
Wow.
Right. But let it be some old woman who's sitting on the stoop with a bonnet on and some ran over house shoes smoking a Newport. If she talk down on you, you probably going to cry.
Exactly. All right. So did you guys hear about this firefighter? he got fired, or he got let go from this new fire station in Detroit because he gifted the firefighters a watermelon. It says 41-year-old Robert Pattinson introduced himself to the fellow firefighters at a Detroit firehouse and arrived at the station with a gift. Ordinarily, that wouldn't be a problem, but Robert's gift consisted of a big watermelon with a pink bow. And this particular firehouse is 90% black. Would you have been offended?
It goes back to that advertising team. You got to check with your people first before
Right.
you do things.
Right.
I mean, did he bring chicken and hot sauce?
It was just the
Did they take
watermelon.
Right.
You know, the black people wanted to, I'm sure.
Right.
But
I
here's-
would have taken it. I'm sorry.
But
It's a
listen, if it
watermelon.
was cut up like a fruit tray, then I could
Oh,
take
yeah.
that. But you just give me this. It's almost like second thought. Like you pick this thing up on your way here, and you just put like a bow that was sitting in your back seat on it, and just gave it to us.
But he was
Oh,
fired
yeah.
for this? He was fired?
He was dismissed, but they end up the firefighters were like, we're cool with it. Let him come back on. But he is like one of the only white people there.
You know they ate it. They was like, man.
Right. It was probably sweet, and it was like, you know what? He was being nice. Like, I just think it's sometimes we pick the battles, and by all means do what you feel, but sometimes we take it to the extreme. Sometimes we take it to the extreme. You know, I get it. I get both. I always get both sides, but I guess I'm just not easily offended. I think that's what it is.
I wouldn't think that this is offended. Like if my boss brought me some fried chicken tomorrow, I wouldn't be
Okay,
offended.
thanks.
But would you eat it in front of her?
Well, my boss is
Thanks.
Cuban, so if she can eat tacos in front of me, I think that I could eat fried chicken in front of her.
Now, would you be offended if he brought a watermelon, some chicken, and Dove soap?
I'd be there. Thanks. All the thing I need is Dove soap is expensive, first of all,
It
so I would
is.
not be offended.
But I would think of it in a different way. You brought me soap.
Right.
What are you trying to say
Where
here?
you going with this?
Exactly.
I'm
Right.
gonna use it, but what you trying to say? Like,
All right, moving on. We're gonna jump around, Miss BJ, because I want you to give out your Petty Betty nominations before we go to a musical break.
Okay.
When you're ready.
You ready now?
Mm-hmm.
Girl, I'm sorry. I was eating on this watermelon. Okay, so I have for the Petty Betty Award nominees. My husband is looking at me crazy. Okay, so let's start from the top. Runner-up is Kim Zolciak and her daughter Brielle for basically posting a Snapchat video of bugs at Nini's house. So I don't know if y'all guys talked about that already.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, good. So that's that one. Then we have ESPN for the suspension of Jamel Hill, which I think is complete and total craziness. So then we got, hold on, sweetheart, hold on. Then we got the racist reporter, Jordan, for being offended by Cam Newton, even though she posted racist tweets of her own. So I thought that was pretty petty. How can you be offended by something when you posted stuff, now she's trying to backtrack and delete it. So who do you guys think?
All right, Pat.
I guess I'll go with I don't know what her daughter's name, Kim Zolciak.
And Brielle.
Brielle. Oh, okay.
I think ESPN is petty.
I actually think the racist reporter girl, because that to me is the definition of privilege.
Mm-hmm.
That she didn't even delete them tweets. She just kept them up there because she didn't care if anybody found them. So I go with her.
All righty. Well, it looks like, let me see, I don't have an envelope, so
Patrick,
I'm waiting.
when you do the honors.
Oh, did you fax it to us, BJ?
I did.
Oh, okay. Hang on. Gotta tear the sides off,
It's really stuck in there, isn't it?
And the winner, it looks like it smeared a little bit.
Miss BJ,
The
who's
winner, The winner
Hey,
is Kim
see it?
Zolciak and daughter Brielle.
Oh.
Where's our
Your
audience?
face.
Oh, yeah, hold on. I think I have something for that. If I can remember which button it is. Oh, my bad.
Our audience is pretty indecisive.
All right, so who's gonna accept her award for her?
You know what? Since I'm on location, I'm right outside Nene Leak's house. I'll go ahead and accept it for her.
Okay, hold on. Let me cue up the music. Miss BJ,
I'm here.
we're ready for you.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Petty Betty Awards, I would like to accept this award for Kim Zolciak and her daughter. Oh my God, Nene bugs. Jesus. You know what? Probably have to bring a sponsor of Raid up here tonight to really be the one to accept it. Nene, even though you have the money, sweetheart, you need to get your house,
BJ, get that one right there. Right there.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I gotta go. I'm gonna take you to work now. Thank you, guys.
Y'all are a fool. A mess, BJ. Good job. I love it. All right.
Right. You ready for the hashtag?
I absolutely am.
All right, guys. So this will be it, and then I have to run. I hate to leave, but the hashtag of the day is butter. You know, kind of like the butter you like on your biscuits, Rachel.
Right.
Or say butter. But let me give you an example. Oh, girl is nice and all, but her breath stink, and she always being shady. So just realize, guys, butter can be used in many ways, either to make you non-ashy, to season your biscuits, or to throw a little shade on somebody.
All right. Hashtag butter. Well, thank you, Miss BJ, for being a trooper and calling in.
Oh, anytime.
And we can't wait to have you back next week.
Oh, I'll be back next week. Me and Tyrese's tears, child.
All right. All right, Miss BJ, we'll catch you later.
All right. Take care. Good night, y'all.
All right, bye. All right, guys, keep it here to The Real with Rachel D. More show coming up for you, including a mix by DJ Specs. All right, guys, welcome back to The Real with Rachel D. That was another great mix by DJ Specs. We're in the building with P Money.
Oh, hey.
Miss Brittany Carter.
Hello.
All right, guys. So we're gonna do a segment called Throwback Thursday, and this is about some subjects we didn't get a chance to talk about last week, but we gotta talk about this week. So, did you guys see the photo shoot that's circulating around Facebook? It's like an updated Family Matters photo shoot.
Yes.
Now, I wasn't really a fan of Family Matters, but you cannot. I mean, we see Steve Urkel and certain people, you just kind of knew what it was. Mm-hmm. Well, everybody noticed that one person in particular was missing.
Who was that?
Everybody noticed?
Well, people who watched it. I didn't, but
I watched it and still didn't notice. But go ahead.
Well, Jamie Foxworth, she's the one that, as I was told by Patrick, she went upstairs and never came back downstairs during the show
She's
run.
such a diligent student. Like, she didn't have time.
Did her homework the whole season, the whole end of the show.
She was studying for those her medical boards or something.
Yeah, we'll go with that one. Sure.
Wasn't she like 12?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
she was a prodigy, obviously.
Sure, we will go with that one. Well, anyways, she was noticeably absent. And, of course, people have asked her questions. She did an interview with The Roots, and she said that she actually was not even invited to the shoot. She wasn't even contacted for the shoot. And she did say that she was upset by it. She said she was shocked by the time the story and the photos were published. But, she says it is what it is. She says, but she does say this, though. She's always took the high road, which maybe, I know everybody has said stuff about her being missing over the years, but I don't think I've ever heard her say anything back. She's not like the dark skin Aunt Viv. You always hear from her. Like, you always know how she feels.
Right.
This one, she says she's always taken the high road, but this time being asked about it, she did say that she feels upset that she wasn't included. And she doesn't know why.
I'm sorry, I watched the show and I didn't expect to see her. I just didn't.
True.
So,
Was there another mother? Somebody said there was a light-skinned mom.
oh yes, there was, but I don't know why she was relevant. Like, I can't remember why they even. There was. She was a light-skinned mom, and I don't even know what her name was, but there was, but I don't know.
Like she was just like a light-skinned mom in the house, or she replaced the other
She
mom?
replaced. I want to say she replaced Harriet for like a few episodes or something. I don't know if it was closer to the end, but now that you said something, it was. But it wasn't. It wasn't as, I guess, iconic as the Aunt Viv thing.
Why do black shows do that?
Like, we're not gonna know.
I mean, they got to keep going.
But I'm
White
saying
shows
it's
do it too,
always
though.
replaced with like a light skin or somebody completely different.
That's true.
Like
you
we're
don't
not
know.
gonna know. And I'm like, we watch this show every week. Really?
Exactly.
Really? You think we're gonna miss that?
So yeah, she does feel some kind of way, but it is what it is. However, the photos are spreading rumors that there might be a Family Guy reboot because these 90s shows are starting to come back. Will and Grace is back, which I never watched. That's So Raven or Raven's Home or something. I actually watched a couple episodes. It's kind of cute.
Can't.
It's kind of cute.
I can't go there with you guys. I just think Family Matters needs to stay where it was in the 90s.
I agree.
Not
What
necessary.
about one show, just
Nope.
to kind of update where everybody
Nope.
is?
Why do I need an update? It's like,
Nope. No thanks.
Well,
do you really want to see like a 50-year-old Urkel come
Right,
into the-
trying to talk to Laura. Like,
Yeah.
seriously, we are, no. Mm-mm.
That's-
Just leave it alone. Like, I think that's what the problem with some of our shows is we just don't know how to let good enough be good enough. Like, just let it.
And didn't they have like a series finale? What they need to do is pick up some of these shows that didn't. Like, I'm still trying to figure out who was pregnant on Moesha. Like,
Right.
who?
Didn't they drop it like that?
Right,
Like,
that was
I
the
could
last
take a
episode.
Moesha reunion because it's more.
What happened
I
at the
don't know.
end of Martin? Like, I want to know.
Right. Bring Martin and them back because they're still out here.
That's true. The Wayans brothers.
Tisha
just
needs something to do.
do-
Tisha Campbell needs
And
something
I
to do.
think for Moesha, like, you can't say Countess Vaughn does not need the coins after that music video that she dropped.
needs a lot of things.
She
because
does.
She has a lot of things going on with her.
And
so
the
maybe she might need the
person,
opportunity.
Niecy, she had a couple by Kevin Federline.
Yeah.
Brandy ain't doing nothing. Ray J ain't doing nothing like productive in
Don't
his
do
life.
that, Brandy. Don't do Brandy. She's out here. Isn't she pregnant?
She trying to act like she ain't. Did you see
Brandy
that?
is just-
Her
I did see
and,
that.
and Halle Berry talking about, I just had a cheeseburger. No,
And-
chick, you 5 months
Isn't
pregnant.
Brandy like still mad at Monica? Like, is that
They
still
keep
going
trying
on?
to reunite that.
Yeah.
It's like,
Why are you trying to keep a beef gun, 90-year-old beef going? Like, seriously? But I don't think Monica is a part of it. I think it's a Brandy beef. Like, Brandy
Yeah.
has an issue with Monica.
I think Brandy lives in the past a little bit.
Yeah,
Wow.
I do too. Well, you know that Sister's doing a reboot.
I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know. That
I was
had a
never
series
interested in
finale
that
either, or two.
They had what?
They had a
don't need
series
it.
finale. It's
Yeah.
done.
And they had a reality show. Like, Tia and Tamara, actors and characters versus themselves are damn near the same. All right. So they had a reality show with them being adults and having kids and getting
Right.
married. Like, that right there would have been your reboot.
Can we make a? I'm sorry. Can we make a list of shows that we don't want to come back?
Right. Listen, that.
Right. We don't want to
NBC
see that.
or something.
We didn't like it when it first was here, and we don't like it now. Like, well, who's requesting this stuff? Like,
And twins ain't even the thing anymore. Like, that's not
nah,
even,
it
like-
was big then
Yeah.
because it's like, oh, now it's like everybody's a twin, isn't it? Did
Right,
you have
yeah.
a twin? You got a twin? I got a twin.
And
Somewhere.
it's like, again, just like you don't want to see a 50-year-old Urkel. Like, you don't want to see, like, two 40-year-old
Over
women
it.
dressing
Right.
alike.
Right.
Like,
It's awkward. Just
That's why I have
let this
respect for,
go.
what's her name? Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. Even though they did the reboot for Fuller House. One, they don't look like each other anymore. But two, they were like, we're good.
yeah.
But I don't think that they should be on TV the way they look recently.
Yeah, they look a mess.
Yeah, they look like they're going through the struggle, and they're like my age, our age. So like,
And they're
you shouldn't look
billionaires.
like that.
See,
You
I'm
shouldn't
for
look
that
like
one, though. Because, like, they played the same character. So just to see it, like, cut away from Michelle and it comes back and she's got short hair and she's trying to play the same character. So, like,
You
that
just
was
want
Wow,
to
it
mess
might be interesting, but some of these shows need to stay where they are. I'm going to construct a list and send it in and say no. We, as the people, say no.
Well, I think maybe a lot of the 90s shows were not a part of a union, so they probably didn't get residuals. And so maybe that's kind of what they're trying to do. You know, they know that we will sit there on a Saturday and watch Martin or watch Fresh Prince or whatever, and they don't get no money from it. So they might be trying to reboot it to just get some money. And then you can't redo Martin. Remember, Tommy died.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I think Pam and Tashina, like, they could have did a spin-off.
You could still do something where you can honor that. I think that would be more relevant, though, because those artists, I mean, that show just had a little bit more range with it. When you're talking about Family Matters and things, they had the same storyline for the most.
Yeah, it was about Urkel trying to get with Laura.
Once they got together, it was kind of like, okay, next.
I agree. All right, so moving on real quick to, let's do hip-hop. Let's see which one we want to go first. Let's do Lil Wayne. All right, so apparently Lil Wayne has a child who's 15, a 15-year-old son. And it's not just a rumor, because he's paying her $5,000 a month child support.
Not surprised.
Not surprised
How many
either.
kids does Lil Wayne have at this
Like
point?
500.
Like, I was about to say about 90
Yeah.
at this point. What's going on with you? Like,
I think he basically just like went in a corner and like laid a hatch of eggs
and just say, hey, come
yeah.
get him. Like, seriously. It's like, are you, wow.
Because I know, doesn't he have one by Nivea?
He has two.
Yes. Does he?
Does he have one or two?
No, Nivea was married to the Dream, who had like 3 kids with him. And then she went and had one with Lil Wayne.
Lil Wayne.
And
He
then-
has one by Lauren London.
They're the same age.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
He has his older one, Regine.
Fighting
Don't
on
get me
the
started.
campus
Don't get
of
me
Clark,
started.
Atlanta.
Don't get me started on her, please.
This one, there was he probably has, no lie, like 10 kids.
Here's
And
a
he's
little
ugly.
boy.
He's so ugly.
I don't get it. I think it has to be the fame, the money.
Yes, man. Maybe he's slinging something. I don't know. A couple
I wouldn't
martinis
get that
and the
far.
lights off.
I wouldn't get that far because I wouldn't. Lil Wayne,
Yeah.
I can't.
Sleeping with somebody is one thing. Producing a kid with him,
That's a whole
I
nother
gotta
commitment.
think about. Yeah, I gotta think about my child's
That's
future.
a whole nother level of commitment.
Talking about getting tested after us, you need to get tested after him.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
The way he don't even look clean.
Look
With
like
all, think about the tattoos on his face and the teeth. And while he's probably the most hygienic person in the world, it looks dirty. And then I don't trust guys who wear skinny jeans, but they hang below their butt, but they got a belt and they always pulling them up. Something dirty about
Why
that
do you
too.
have the belt? Because you're not using it.
Because it's like when you sit, your underwear is exposed to the surface you're sitting on. Like there's supposed to be something between that. And if you don't have your pants pulled up on your butt, which is a whole nother thing, whoever started that, kill it. And then kill everybody who thinks that that's a cool thing to follow. I cannot stand that. But anyway, yep, he has another kid. For the next 3 years, it looks like he'll be paying out more child support. Because he doesn't really seem involved in his other kid's life, even Regine.
Again, I have nothing nice to say about Regine, so no.
All right, so let's get into. Let me look, because I don't want to end on a bad note. All right, we'll do Jim Carrey now. All right, so a couple years ago, I want to say maybe it was last year, Jim Carrey's former girlfriend, Carolina White, she committed suicide, and actually it was 2 years ago, 2015. And her whole family really blames Jim Carrey because they said that she didn't really deal with the breakup too well. And she says that Jim Carrey, or her mom actually says that Jim Carrey exposed her to STDs. And I think herpes was one of them. Like I can't remember the list of STDs, but none of them was like HIV/AIDS. So it was nothing that just stood out to me that would make you want to jump off a bridge. It was something simple. And so he exposed her to that and drugs and everything. And so the family is actually suing him. They're trying to say that he's responsible for her death.
Not when it comes to suicide. Now, if she had died from complications from the STDs, maybe we'll have a discussion. But she made a decision, sounds like, from what she was experiencing, and that's a personal choice. So I don't agree at all.
Well, they found a suicide note on her iPad, which I think that this is a lie. Now that I'm looking at
It's
it,
electronic.
because now that I
Anybody could do
just looked at it,
It looks like somebody's mama wrote it. Like it starts with like,
no,
good
I'm
afternoon,
gonna
fellas.
avenge my baby girl.
No,
Let
it's
me-
the date.
Have a good afternoon.
It's the date. She killed herself September 25th. The date on this thing is April 8th, 2013. Like, that's a 2 year and some change gap in the suicide note.
Yeah, you had a time to rethink that and think that over again and have a whole nother reason to do it. So, yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, it says, she wrote, "You have not thought about the stigma I have to live with for the rest of my life. You have not apologized or once asked, is there something you can do to make it better, or even felt bad for it." You know, as a woman, this sounds so familiar. Like, have you ever texted a guy this? It's like, you hurt my feeling, you broke my heart, but you ain't never asked me how I'm doing.
What you could do to make even that, he may have a better response than how he can fix herpes, I'm sure.
I don't think that this is even a suicide note. I just think this is one of the typical.
I hate you text.
Yeah.
You ruined my life text. Yeah.
So she calls him Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, which honestly, for somebody like Jim Carrey, I wouldn't be surprised.
Right.
He looks like he has dual personalities that are completely opposite of each other. And so, yeah, the mom's trying to sue. I'm sorry. I feel bad for you, lady, but this wasn't like a bullying. I think that when it comes to suicide, if your child was bullied to death, then maybe. But, you know, being broken up with and being burned or given the bump, you can't sue for that. I'm sorry.
Did you say giving the bump?
I don't know what the terminology is when somebody gives you herpes. All right. So last story. I was going to do Nicki Minaj, but let's talk about Amber Rose and her second annual slut walk.
It's only the second one.
Should have been the last one, the first time she did it.
And her best friend Black China showed up. I don't know if y'all saw the video of her butt. It just looks gross. It's just too big and dimply. It just looks so gross. And she wore like this sheer, it was like a bodysuit and fishnet booty short. It was a mess. Anyways, so I do want to get y'all's opinion upon this. I think that Amber Rose, I'm all for not slut shaming, but I feel like the narrative has taken it too far. Like, I think back in the day when they slut shamed, it was if you did sleep with one guy, they call you a slut. But when you're a stripper and jump from rapper to rapper and you're posting naked all the time, it's like, that is not something I think we need to try to encourage our daughters to be like, personally. And for Amber Rose, I mean, she got that come up. Can't be mad about it. But, I don't know. Just that you have to drop a naked photo every couple weeks to stay relevant. It's like, what about your mind? Do you have anything fun to talk about? Are you funny? Like, we know you're naked. You're cute naked with a big butt. Like, is there any other substance to you?
I don't have a problem with you being sex positive. I don't have a problem with you sleeping with whomever you want to sleep with. You can sleep with however many people you want to sleep with, whatever profession that you want to sleep with them in. I don't have a problem with sex work either, but I don't, with that being said, I don't think that Amber Rose represents what feminism is, and I don't think that she has a very good grasp of what feminism is. And it bothers me that she's trying to put herself on a pedestal, or people put her on a pedestal to represent feminism or this movement in feminism, when it's not like, she's not bringing anything new or any kind of totality to the table. Like, it's all about her sleeping with whoever she wants to sleep with, but that's not what all of feminism is. Like, that's not the whole of feminism. So I don't know. I just have a problem with her kind of being looked at in that regard, and her putting herself out there to be that, because anytime, like, I guess that's her fallback plan, though, is just to kind of be like this feminist icon, and I have a problem with that.
I do too. And also, she seemed like she likes to play the victim when she can. Like, she'll do something, and for instance, and then just make it over dramatic. For instance, when her boyfriend, who's her boyfriend? 21 Savage.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He came, he wore something or whatever, and people were talking about him because he looked like a clown. It looked crazy. And then she goes on Instagram, it's like, what would y'all rather him do? Beat my butt and abuse me? And it's like, ain't nobody even talking about that.
Why are you going to that extreme?
Because it's like,
she needs to be relevant, and
yeah.
And that's what it's about, too. It's just about maintaining relevance, and it just feels that way.
It is. All right, guys, time to wrap up the show. Brittany Carter, thank you so much for coming
Absolutely.
out. I'm going to always keep you on the dial.
Yes.
So if we need you to come back, you'll be there.
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Patrick, thank you for coming out.
Yeah, I'm not coming back.
That's lies, people. He's lying. All right, guys, you're listening to The Real with Rachel D. Make sure you go on our social media pages, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter to show us some love and support. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. Keep it here. And we'll leave you with some more DJ Specs. Hey, why not?